Well, it looks like our first rider to go is now saluting the judge and being given the prerequisite of which direction she's got to go and what she's got to do, but we'll see her do the outside fences and then finish off by coming through the centre with the other fences as well too. And as I said, we like to see our riders going at a good hunting pace, not at a million miles an hour, but a good hunting pace, and remembering a hunting pace is a pace whereby we want the horse to be still doing the same thing at the end of the hunt as we do at the start of the hunt. And this is the Oaklands Hunt Club represented here. The horse is Medieval Magic, and our rider is Ruby Marantelli. So good luck, Ruby. She leads them off. We'll be having our hounds along a little later on, so if you're looking for a great picture, I'd suggest you get the iPhones and the cameras out, because it's a beautiful day, a wonderful spectacle. So Medieval Magic, just having a little bit of a warm-up, doing a lap warm-up before approaches the first of these two fences down in front of our grandstand here. She sits down and pushes him into it, takes it well. He's a nice, bold, free-going type too. Case having a look at him, isn't he? He'd be a nice horse to take to the hunt. Remembering, of course, these horses are used to, geez, a lovely little jumper, this fellow. These horses, of course, remembering, would not be familiar with the surrounds that we've got in here. And, of course, today we've got colour and Ferris wheels and all sorts of noises. She'll now come around and come up through the centre now. And there'll be 8 efforts as far as the jumping is concerned. That's a pretty good round. Let's put our hands together for our first competitor, Medieval Magic and Ruby Marantelli, representing the Oaklands Hunt Club. Well, our next competitor we saw a little earlier in the show. He's an entire, this fellow. He's a stallion, Northern Favours 2, ridden by Stephen Valentine. Stephen had a couple of horses early entered, owned by Peter Powles from the Oaklands Hunt Club, this particular horse. And Stephen, the rider, on Northern Favours, rather attractive stallion. Just about to head off in his warm-up half lap. And as we said before, Casey, we saw him on the flat earlier in the show. Let's just find out what he's like over the fences very, very soon. He's having a bit of a good look at the grandstand at the moment.
Well, I was interested to say, when we saw him the other day, he was back down this end. So it's interesting to see him there having a little look.
A different style of jumper than we saw with our first horse. He gets in a little closer to his fences than the other horse. He was a little bit inclined to stand back a little. Ears pricked forward. He has a little bit of a look. Remembering, of course, they're looking straight up at those Ferris wheels, so you're looking beyond the jumps. It's all new. It's all different. And coming through for his last 2 efforts. And got over safely. Well done. So that was Northern Favours 2, ridden by Stephen Valentine. Young rider about to head out in just a moment is Charlie Morgan-Jones. Now this is Gravitas. And just turning back the clock a little bit. If my memory serves me right, I'm pretty sure that this is a horse that Darren Green used to ride. So Charlie will be taking Darren on his ride with him, I'm sure. As today brings back some great memories. In fact, I've got a feeling Gravitas might have been his favourite hunter, the late Darren Green. I'll tell you more about Darren a little bit later on. Charlie is I think he's an Englishman, a young man out from England, who's riding this horse owned by Kathleen Cuss. In fact, he's been a prolific winner here. Gravitas. In fact, this was the horse that Darren's memorial they had there with, I think it was 5 couple. So we had 10 hounds there on that memorable day. Won't need to worry about this fellow. He's as safe as can be as far as a conveyance over the fences are concerned. Gravitas, he's been here and done that a few times. I dare say we could say Casey riding with the angel of Darren on his shoulder here. Aboard Darren Green's favourite horse here, Gravitas. Now being ridden by a young man by the name of Charlie Morgan Jones. Well done, Charlie. Another one of our female competitors about to head out now on her round. It's Just Annabelle's Way, the name of the horse. And representing the Hume Hunt Club, this is Hayley Graham. Many of our riders wearing the livery of their club. Men in the predominantly red jackets. And the various collars and cuffs deciphering what role those particular gentlemen are within that club. A little bit of a tap down the shoulder here for Just Annabelle's Way. Heading into looking up there to those open spaces on the big Ferris wheel, just to make sure that she concentrates on the way through. He's a bold little jumper, isn't he, this fellow? And enjoying it too. He is a forward. And going at a nice pace too. Good, just a good, comfortable pace. Love the way he tucks those front feet up, Case, in front there. Going out nice and wide, giving him plenty of time to square up to these 2 fences on the way home. Just puts in a short one there, gets away with it. Good round. Everyone's going along nicely at the moment. Hayley Graham, Just Annabelle's Way, representing the Hume Hunt Club, Incorporated. Must give them their proper title. Now, the horse looks very familiar to me here. And let's find out who our rider is. Is it Jared? All right, this is number 272, representing the Oaklands Hunt Club. Former steeplechaser, trained by the Wilds up at Warrnambool. In fact, I think might have won a Briley. The horse's name is Key Simmel. That's the name that he raced under as well too. And of course, this pair representing the Oaklands Hunt Club. And in memory of Darren Green, I think Jared today is wearing his helmet in this competition, or at one stage of the day, was the message that he gave Casey. Darren, of course, died in a house fire on the 12th of July in a cottage that he lived in for some 30 years at Wallaby, the property of Dr. Richard and Kathleen Cust on the northern fringes of Melbourne. And sadly, at just 52 years of age, he lost his life. His riding career began back in the late 1970s at the Oaklands Pony Club, a club, of course, that attached to the Oaklands Hunt, and a hunt that has been active in the country to the north of Melbourne since 1888. That's just around the corner from you, isn't it? Oaklands. So at the moment, Jared rolling along nicely. For Darren as a youngster, he was a pony club eventer, a young hunter. His eventing career reached its greatest heights, perhaps after he took an unbroken warm blood gelding, Killer McColl, or Merlin, a once-in-a-lifetime horse that he described, which took Darren to the equivalent of the modern 4-star with top 10 rides in Adelaide, Sydney and Melbourne Internationals. So a lovely round by Keith Symbol, which we would expect. He's probably used to jumping fences a little bigger than that, but clever enough to know just what he's got to do. I wonder how old he'd be now. He'd have to be 10 or 11, Keith Symbol, wouldn't he? May even be older. All right, our next rider to greet the judge is Connor Dwyer on a horse called Ludlow. And Connor, of course, representing the Oaklands Hunt as well too. Let's get back to Darren. Through all his time, he was a constant, enthusiastic hunter for many years, hunting 5 days a week with various packs, often in the company of Kathleen, and was also the owner of many of Darren's hunters and eventers, and this was a close and productive equestrian partnership for many, many years. He became joint master of the Oaklands Hunt from 2008 to 2012 and regularly took the field from 2005 in a role in which his knowledge of the hunt country and enthusiasm for the sport saw him absolutely shine. A day in the field with Darren Green as a field master was always a spirited, safe and entertaining day. Darren Green excelled at these events and was a prolific winner here at the Royal Melbourne Show. Won Champion Hunter 5 times here at Melbourne's Royal Agricultural Society Show. More than just a standout competitor, he was an enthusiastic advocate for the competitive hunting disciplines as well too. Much of the time organising skill out of the saddle to groups like the Melbourne Show and the Melbourne Show Jumping Club. At the time of his death, his life was well into its annual winter rhythm. Hunters were in work, eventers were coming back in from spelling, and preparation beginning for the spring showing season. The fire, unfortunately, that took Darren's life shocked his friends and an extraordinarily broad community of people who had worked and ridden or schooled with him. And the memorial at the Inglis Sales Complex near his Oaklands Junction home saw over 800 people gather along with his favourite hunter Gravitas and 5 couple of the Oaklands hounds. The crowd heard tributes from all walks of Darren's equestrian life. And while they celebrated the life of a great man and a great champion, another good round we see here, I think everyone was quite okay dealing with things until Gravitas came out with the boots turned backwards and the hounds came out and the tears started to flow. It was a very, very somber moment. One thing I did learn about Darren Green, Daniel Watts about to join us here now on this coloured horse, owned by Gilly Wilcox from the Melbourne Hunt Club. This is Franklin, ridden by Daniel Watts. One thing I did know about Darren, he was a teacher out at Oaklands with a keen eye for a student's riding, and the way about him was almost like it brought out the best in a horse and jockey. His mounted silhouette was unmistakable, upright, balanced, effortless, noble. And I know he's going to be missed by many, and as a teacher and a companion, and by the countless horses and riders who now, of course, will benefit from not only his knowledge, but his astute, instinctive horsemanship and remarkable capacity to teach as well. The late Darren Green, good friend of all of us, we miss him. but we remember him today with fond thoughts here on our Hunt Club Day at Melbourne show. Well, I would say Franklin is sparkling at the moment, couldn't we? We're all sitting up here drinking a little bit of Mount Franklin today. Sparkling water. A few of these horses get in close to their fences, Case, don't they? But they are clever enough to be able to get away and become a safe journey for their riders. Now there's a clever horse, can get himself out of trouble. Reminded me a little bit like a cat. I'm not going to get my feet wet. And picks his feet up beautifully over the last. In fact, his last fence was probably about his best jump. Well, that was Franklin. Daniel Watts, owned by Jill Wilcox from the Melbourne Hunt Club. Oakland's Hunt Club. Again, this is Charlie Morgan-Jones with mount number 2, again owned by Kathleen Cust. This horse raced under the name of Ty Rock as a former thoroughbred. Well, not former thoroughbred, he is a thoroughbred, he still is. But representing the Oakland's Hunt Club, Dulverton, ridden by Charlie Morgan-Jones. Well, Charlie, you're going to have your work cut out here by the look of you. He's a clever horse. Just the art, of course, of jumping is being able to get your horse to lift when you want the horse to lift, either a stride off the fence. We've noticed a few of our horses getting a little bit close. Well, it's just not a horse error, it's more a rider error of being able to place the horse, being able to sit down and push. Get him to lift, just like that. That was a good stride off the fence. There's another one. Now this horse is starting to see his fences a lot better. A little bit of confidence coming from both horse and rider now. Two to go. Much better. There's the further this fellow went, Case, the better he went, didn't he?
He certainly did. It's interesting to see that with these horses, when they line up and come into the first lot of jumps, it's just, you watch their line of focus. They all seem to be looking up at that Ferris wheel, don't they?
Well, as I said before, it's for hunting horses, and for many of these horses, it's a whole new ball game for them. He's a real hunter type, this fellow, isn't he? Hunting type of horse. Even though we utilise thoroughbreds, we look for a horse that's got probably a bit of bone about him. Good, strong horse that could carry you all day through the hunting field. This is number 1364, named Herbert Jenner, ridden by Justine Hales. Well, here's a lady with a bit of history about her, from the Yarra Glen and Lilydale Hunt Club. Now, if it's the Justine Hales that I think it is, and I'll get you to put your binoculars on because we'll recognise her if it is. She's well entrenched into the racing world. Been overseas riding just recently. And I think she works for the Mar Eustace stable now. She was the racing foreman for Cliff Waller for quite some time. Now has changed stables into the very powerful Kieran Marr and David Eustace. She's done well. He's a green horse looking at him, and not too sure whether it's the Justine that we know. Just loses a little bit of traction there, spin of the wheels. I tell you what, she's doing a damn good job. He's not the easiest horse to ride, and Justine's been able to keep herself in the saddle pretty well, considering. He might be a first season jumper, although they've got to have been out hunting at least 5 times before. Well, she's just lost her way a little bit here. Wants to have another crack at the circle instead of coming up through the centre. Going to come back around again. That's a little bit better. You can see the ears forward now. You can see they're looking up above them. I think even though she's jumped a couple of fences too many, she's making sure that a horse is jumping properly. Sits down and pushes him into the fence. He's game enough. He's just not too sure where to put the feet just at this point in time. So Justine Hales aboard Jenna from the Yarra Glen and Lilydale Hunt Club. Well, this is Kerry, ridden by Jessica Taylor. Just having a look through my glasses. Yes, it is the Justine that we know down there. Justine Hales, and well ridden, Justine. Wasn't the easiest of rides for you, but we showed, or at least you showed us your expert horsemanship, or horsewomanship, we should say. Gets a little bit of a pat from the rider. So it's another Martin Herbert nomination here, Kerry, ridden by Jessica Taylor from Yarra Glen and Lilydale Hunt Club. The Tokemore Club was always a very hard club to beat here during this show. I don't see any of the Toke riders down here this year, I don't think. Had a very strong, always very, very strong teams here. This being the Noel Mason Perpetual Trophy. Grey, the horse is Kerry. And Jessica Taylor, the rider. Just as out of my sight a little bit there at that first one, but looking on the land, it looks like he might have gotten really, really close to that. Safely over those two. Up through the centre, 2 to home, and a big sigh of relief. Let's see how he handles these two through the middle. Well, got home safely. That's all that matters. How the judge sees it, we'll find out, of course, when we have our presentations. Now, our next competitor. Is 980. Well, it is one of our Tokemore Hunt Club representatives. This is Just Army's Cadence, ridden by Abby Lee Ryan. It's owned by Abby Lee from the Tokemore Club. Number 980. Now, these girls love to bowl along. The Toke girls at their fences. It'll be interesting to see how she goes here. I normally ride with the black livery and the yellow, and this young lady's got a hunting jacket. Now, how will our judge see this? she hold the end up of the Tokemore Club, who have been successful here year in and year out. She's giving her horse a good look around, making sure that he's comfortable. Gives him a good run into the first. That's a bit of a look, but did jump it okay. Two down the back, two at the front, and two through the middle. Oh, wasn't too keen on that. Just a little bit of a run out there, which will cost her, unfortunately. Isn't it funny how horses can see? Oh, what a ripping leap there. Isn't it funny, Casey, how horses can see things that we don't? I've often heard you say, oh, Dad, that horse is looking at a gremlin out there or something that just come up out of the ground. Well, you can share with me some of these things that these horses see. Well, there we are. What's he seen there?
I always make a little bit of a joke of it. Our horses can always find anything from nothing. I always say leprechauns, ghosts, ghouls, spooks. They see them.
Isn't that frustrating? It proves he can jump them, but just come in on the angle. Wasn't completely comfortable. Just having a look at our rider. Looks like he might be fairly strong on the mouth too.
Well, 292 is the next of our horses out. Downton Abbey, ridden by Alexandra Ferguson, the Murray Valley Hunt Club.
Well, this is one of Wendy Buller's well known to us, Downton Abbey. Downton Abbey, of course, we know from the television series. I think they've brought out a movie now of Downton Abbey. We had the privilege of going to Downton Abbey when we were last in England. It's commonly known over there as Highclere Castle. The couple that own it, the Queen's horses, in fact, Her Majesty often is out there walking through the paddocks with the sheep. She happened to be there the morning that we were there. We got held up at the gate, and the gamekeeper came down and said, Mum is just having a little bit of a walk through the paddocks. We'll go down there later. And I thought, well, who's Mum? But he was referring to Mum, and that's how they refer to the Queen. He said when she rang up and asked could she come out and have a walk around, he couldn't turn around and say, oh, look, sorry, Mum, we've got a group of Aussies here that are our guests today. Can you make it another day? So the Queen took precedence over us. And we saw some magnificent mares and foals. Geez, he's game, this little bloke, if nothing else. Of course, it's the Duke of Carnarvon that owns Highclere Castle. We went down to Carnarvon Arms and had one of the best meals you could ever wish. Little pub just down the road from Highclere Castle. Great memorable day. Had the richest broodmare in England, or in Europe at the time, was stabled there at Highclere Castle, or Downton Abbey as we know it. Another one of Wendy Buller's horses here. This is Delatite. And Ron Ferguson is the rider here from the Murray Valley Club. You ever been on a hunt?
Actually, I've never been on a hunt. I did get offered to go on a hunt once on an old horse who won a Waterbull Great Eastern Steeple in Quiller's Quest. Once upon a time, I did get offered to go for a journey, but never took them up on it, unfortunately.
Now I'm just trying to think. It wouldn't be Jim. What's
Lockheed.
Yes. Wasn't Quiller's Quest, was it? Or was it just Quest?
Yeah, Quiller's Quest.
Quiller's Quest. Okay, I got you. See, my memory's not too bad. At times, when I want it to be. Well, this is Delatite, Ron Ferguson and the Murray Valley Hunt Club. Going along quite well. Geez, that was a good landing, actually. I thought he was going to fold. Actually, from sitting up here in the box, I really think our first rider set the tone for the day, didn't she? She was a really good round. It'll be interesting to see how our judges see it as well, too. Doesn't matter what we say now, it's not going to influence them. They've got all their points down. They can't change them. And we can't change their mind. Not that they should be listening to us. There's a rider who certainly knows how to push his horses into a fence. Just to make sure that you take off in the right spot and that you land on the right spot, which is the other side upright. This is another one of the tote girls, is it? TC Bobby, Wendy Buller. We'll be seeing TC Bobby back here a little later on too, with the team from the Murray Valley Hunt Club. Wendy Buller, Ron Ferguson and Alex Ferguson competing on Bobby, Della Titan, Downton Abbey. Gets him rolling along nicely. He looks a nice horse to be able to sit behind. Holds the neck up nice and high. It's looks at just changing on the right leg just prior to the fence, which is all important. Otherwise, we'd probably give you a little bit of a rough ride going on that left rein. Things look a bit smoother now. Oh, good boy, good boy. He is a good-looking hunter type, Casey was saying. He's a good type. You would like to see him getting into his fences that tight or that close all the time. That's about the general height of the fences you'd find in the hunting field, isn't it? You've never been on a hunt. Well, young lady, before, I shouldn't say before you leave this world, but before you get too old, I suggest you have a talk to Fiona McIntyre. She'd be the girl to tell you. I think Fiona's with the Barwon Club, and she would tell you what it's like to go on a hunt.
Well, the interesting thing is I live 5 minutes down the road from the Oaklands Hunt Club, so if I was going to go anywhere, I need to get the team from Oaklands to get me out there with them one day.
Well, just don't take the horse we've got at home, that's all.
1009. Northern Versalt. It will be from the Oaklands Hunt Club, Stephen Valentine's nomination.
Well, Stephen already with one ride. Was on that entire that we saw before. This is one of Peter Powell's horses here in Northern Versalt. Another entire. It's interesting, both the horses that he's ridden have both been entires, or both been stallions. Very pretty type. You could nearly win a hunter on the flat prize anyway, this fellow, by the look of him, couldn't you?
Keep asking me all these questions. I'm looking at numbers and talking to you and doing all sorts of things. I am here, everybody. It's just,
yes,
I'm keeping busy.
Women can do more than two things at a time.
Isn't
Men
that
can't.
interesting? This bloke's been watching everyone go through. He's just spotted this jump and goes over it comfortably now.
I think he was doing his best to try and have a run out there too, but got pulled back in. So perhaps our rider should be heading to as close to the middle as he can get. Will come from the outside in. That one's gone straight through the middle. That's what we're looking for. Pace, Casey, also is all too important in this particular class as well too. The horse has got to be able to roll along at a good hunting pace.
Well, I think just about everyone has demonstrated that pace anyway. You don't want to be going flat out here, but at the same time, you need to be rolling along. And I think that's a perfect example of a horse that's working. You know, he's not slouching, he's not going in at a slow canter. The horse is working and concentrating into his fences.
Well, congratulations to our horse and rider there. I think we've only got one more to go, haven't we? One or two to go. This is the high. I think this is the hyphen again. Charlie Morgan Jones. I don't think you mind me calling him the hyphen. Another one of the Kathleen Cuss team. The name of the horse is Harbour. Looks a big lopey type. Be interesting to see how he jumps, Case, this fellow here. I've got a feeling that he might measure his fences pretty well, this bloke. Yes, a safe conveyance, this fellow. Just gave me that impression just having a look at him. And it's interesting, you just tell by their stride as they're cantering around there before. Perhaps what a nice easy ride he might make. Now look at that, stood back at his fence very nicely. Whoops, stood well back there and managed to get away with it. Tuck those front legs up. Here we were putting a huge wrap on him and he nearly brought himself undone. That's better. Yes, when he puts his mind to it, he's a good jumper, this fellow. Come over to my place anytime he likes. Good boy, well done, Charlie. Yeah, apart from the one blemish, pretty good round. Another grey to go here now, and this is Just Magical Dreams, ridden by Hayley Graham. Hayley's from the Hume Hunt Club, Incorporated. Lovely big dapple. Horse. Just Magical Dreams, number 1743. The Hume Hunt Club, the rider, Hayley Graham.
See here another really lovely striding horse going down the back side here. Let's have a look and see how this one...
Yeah, summing him up too. I think he might be able to measure these fences all right too as well. Look at him. Ears forward, having a good look. Little tap down the neck just to remind him what he's got to do. A little bit lazy there, drag the back legs through it. You just heard a little bit of a rattle. Well, 4 fences from home for Hayley. So far, a tidy round. It's interesting how some of them can measure their fence as well, and then the next one they'll get in too close to, but that's not horse error, that's rider error. Being able to try and place your horse for takeoff. But a good round. A time for Just Magical Dreams and Hayley Graham. Well, our judge is looking as if to say any more. I think that's about it, Judge. So we'll have some results for you very soon, I'm sure. Who was your choice sitting in the crowd? Interesting. Kathleen bringing out the lovely cup and sash. Of course, as we said before, also supported by International Animal Health. Mr. Shane McLeod and Mr. Shannon Lawler here. Shane doing the presentations today. They tell me Shannon's got out of the sick bed. He hasn't been too good. He's done well with his cattle, though, apparently. Oh, did you hear what Shane said then? I think he said sook. Look over your shoulder, Shannon. Don't let him talk like that.
Well, I'm sure these guys are tallying up the points down here. This is for our Noel Mason Memorial for our qualified hunters plate down here. Very sought after event. As you can see, all of our equestrians from their hunt clubs have come from far and wide to compete out here in the Noel Mason. So very shortly, we'll be able to see who our winner is. Of course, Noel Mason was master of Findon Harriers Hunters Club from 1949 right through to 1989. He was also one of Australia's top amateur jumping riders and an RASV horse steward of long standing. So as you could see before, we saw Kathleen Cust carrying that beautiful trophy, supported by herself. And as we just mentioned, our friends from International Animal Health are down there joining us, Shane McLeod and Shannon Lawler. Shane's the gentleman with the orange bucket and Shannon's the man tailing behind.
Well, we'll invite our riders to face the grandstand in a moment, and very shortly we'll have presentations of ribbons as soon as we get the point score through to us up here. And it looks like our top group, our chief steward down there, Mr. Wayne Loughlin, making sure everything is all A-OK, the officer in charge. And we'll quickly tell you in a few moments' time who the winner is. We know if you're out there lined up, you know you're in the top 6. But not too sure whether you would be told as to positions at this point in time. Well, Charlie's been said you can go for a little ride out the gate, unless he's gone out to get on another mount. I'm not sure, but Well, as soon as Tim gives us the all clear down there with our points tally, we'll share that with you. A little bit of a game of drafts down there, the way things, horses and riders are moving around. There's Charlie coming back. He did have a couple of rides in the event, so he may have gone out there to hop on the horse that was the higher place, but decided to come back and join us just as a mounted rider. Still nothing yet from our vantage point up here. Well, our redcoats allowing our competitors to come out for the next event, which will be the SA Greaves. Again, it's another Memorial Hunters Plate special event. The SA Greaves, of course, the event there, it was class number 387. And again, it's the best exhibition of jumping at a hunting pace again, to be ridden by only those qualified to ride under the rules of the Hunt Clubs Association. Well, I think we're just about ready for a result. Well, our judge is starting to sash before we had our winners up in front of us, but we congratulate number 501, Harbour, ridden by Charlie Morgan-Jones from the Oaklands Hunt Club. Second goes to the old champion Key Symbol, ridden by Jared Hurry from the Oaklands Hunt Club. Third went to Gravitas, ridden by Charlie Morgan-Jones, the second of Charlie's rides today here from the Oaklands Hunt Club. Fourth going to Just Magical Dreams, ridden by Hayley Graham from the Hume Hunt Club. Fifth to Ludlow, ridden by Connor Dwyer from the Oaklands Hunt Club, number 333. And our final ribbon going to Downton Abbey, ridden by Alexandra Ferguson, representing the Murray Valley Hunt Club, number 292. But our winner is Charlie Morgan-Jones from the Oaklands Hunt Club, aboard a horse called Harbour, number 501, owned by Kathleen Cuss, so that'll make Kathleen's day. And I think Charlie was asking Kathleen yesterday, how did I ride? Did I ride as good as what Darren would have? But probably, Charlie, you can answer that question now, or you'll get an answer to that question from Kathleen now. So well done. Of course, Charlie, now young Englishman who's now riding the Cuss team out in the hunt field, and here today as well. Well, hope you enjoyed that. We've got more to come, so don't leave us. Enjoy the sunshine on this glorious day here. Our final day. Gosh, it's gone quick, hasn't it, madam?
It certainly has gone very quickly. In fact, I'm enjoying watching it. It's such a lovely day outside, but it seems a little bit of a shame that we're locked up here in the broadcast box.
Well, don't worry, I can drop off at the...
I know, your voice, you're getting tired. But as we said, our winner out here for our Noel Mason Memorial Qualified Hunters Plate, well done to Charlie Morgan-Jones and Harbour, number 501. As we said, second place going to Key Symbol, number 272, again the Oaklands Hunt Club. This time it was Jared Hurry in the saddle as we watch them make their way off. Everybody give them a round of applause. Third place to Gravitas. Our fourth to Just Magical Dreams, ridden by Hayley Graham from the Hume Hunt Club. Fifth to Ludlow and Connor Dwyer from the Oaklands Hunt Club. And our sixth ribbon went to Downton Abbey, ridden by Alexandra Ferguson from the Murray Valley Hunt. So well done to everybody. And as we said, we're moving on now to our S.A. Greaves Memorial Hunters Plate.
Well, this particular event, Casey, is for, as I said, the riders who are qualified to ride under the rules of the Hunt Clubs Association of Victoria over the obstacles, and they must be a member of the club which has nominated the horse as well too. Sid Greaves of Strathard, Narrow Warren, and later the Landing Bass was elected to the RASV Council in 1937 and served as ringmaster and was created a life councillor in 1960. He died in 1966 and was a foundation member of the Country Committee Cranbourne from 1928 and an honorary life member of the Melbourne Hunt Club in 1947. The trophy, of course, in memory of Mr. Jeff Spencer, supported by Jeff Urey, presented by Jeff and Mrs. Maurice Payne. The late Jeff Spencer, of course, of Valley Springs, Heath Hill, was a life committee member of the Melbourne Hunt and Master from 71 to 81 and was a lifetime supporter and very successful participant in his own right of equine activities, including show jumping, eventing, hunting, point-to-point racing and jumps racing. What a shame we don't see a lot of point-to-point anymore.
I did hear about the point-to-points when I was a little girl. But now we have out here for our S.A. Greaves Memorial Hunters Play, the very first of our riders. It's from the Oaklands Hunt Club. It's Northern for Salt, ridden by Stephen Valentine, owned by Peter Powers.
Well, some of these horses heading around for a second time. They've had a bit of a look around now. They've familiarised themselves. And that's evident by the way this horse has jumped these first two, Case. He's jumped them much, much better. Yes, there was a good round. And a rider's pretty happy with it as well too, as Stephen gives him a big rap, a big pat down the neck. Maybe that's a sign of influencing the judges, how good he feels, how good he thought it was. Just struggling to get a number here, but I think you might find the horse is just Magical Dreams, number 1743. That's Hayley Graham. Well, really launched into that second fence. He's a, when she lets him go, he's a bold jumper at these fences, isn't he? If she can get him just to settle a little bit through the centre here, I'm sure they'll finish off with a good round here. Well, he's made a bit of a mess of it, but Hayley just give him a little bit of a slap down the neck before it, and he's just taken off a little bit before acceptances. No boots on him, but I don't think there's too much damage done. He's really only hit that fence with his toes. But horse and rider are okay. That's the main thing. Number 577, as soon as our course builders get things organised here. There's Charlie Morgan-Jones back again on the old champ, Gravitas. Well, both horse and rider okay. Might have given himself a little bit of whack on the off hind. He looks a little tender, but it'll only be superficial. I'm sure he'll be okay. Well, this is Gravitas with Charlie Morgan-Jones about to begin their round. Can Charlie make it back to back? We'll find out in just a moment. Used to race under the name of Be Fair Dinkum, Gravitas. So as Casey said, everyone is riding with him today. Yeah, good pick up. A little bit of weight on the shoulders of you, young man, here today. Nice jump at 1 and 2 through the centre. As we'd probably expect, Case, good round. Nice safe round here from Gravitas and Charlie Morgan-Jones from the Oaklands Hunt Club. Now here's a horse that you'll love to see. It'll be the same colour as your old horse, or similar to it. Not your old horse, is it? Well, this lovely coloured horse at the moment is about to begin his round. Just a little awkward at the first, the second's good. And the horse's name is Franklin, ridden by Daniel Watts, owned by Jill Wilcox from the Melbourne Hunt Club. So Franklin we saw competing a little earlier. Neat little jumper and completes the round. Got some fans in the crowd, which is great to see. People have come out today to support their hunt clubs and their riders. Well, rider number 5, or the 5th rider to go, actually, not the number. The number is 1340. The Oaklands Hunt Club are represented here with Medieval Magic, ridden by Ruby Marantelli, owned by Michelle Albrecht from the Oaklands Hunt Club. Now, I'm not too sure whether they're going to bring that stirrup cup out today, because it's a prerequisite for the broadcast box to road test the stirrup cup.
Definitely. I think I'd forgotten about that until you mentioned it. It is a prerequisite of all the hunt clubs to come here. Whoever makes the stirrup cup,
I didn't forget about it, I can tell you.
Broadcast box.
Of course, before every hunt, all the riders get together, and it's normally a club secret of how the stirrup cup is made, or what goes into the making of the stirrup cup. But it's a lovely drink that can warm the cockles of your heart. With lovely flavour.
She's a lovely little rider, this girl, Ruby Marantelli. It was a lovely jump for the Oaklands Hunt Club. Medieval Magic was the horse. Let's see who's out next.
It's very alcoholic too, the stirrup cup, isn't it? Just wondering, can you go 05 before a hunt?
I'm sure you could. 1860 is the next of our horses to come out, which is TC Bobby, ridden by Wendy Buller. This horse is owned by Terry Cooper, nominated by the Murray Valley Hunt Club, number 1860.
So I think we need to send a runner down just to find out whether this stirrup cup has gone missing. Gee, it's a good feeling when you're on a jumper and they can stand back at a fence like that.
Well, this is the horse that we made comment about before, where I said this is the sort of horse that is a typical hunting type, isn't he, really?
Well, he's got that hunter head about him, hasn't he? He looks that, and I say this with respect, and a lot of the owners might disagree with me, but the hunter isn't always the prettiest looking horse, the genuine hunter. In fact, some of the English hunters are quite ugly, but that's the way they're bred, and they're bred specifically for hunting, and they have that style about their head. And this fella here's really got that English hunter type head, hasn't he? Safe conveyance, that's the main thing. Next rider to go is rider number 7. Well, Ronnie Ferguson is the rider here aboard Delatite from the Murray Valley Hunt Club. It's one of the Wendy Bullitt nominations. Wendy's got a few horses that have been jumping out here today. So as far as Ron's concerned, no warm-up. We know what we've got to do. Let's go and get stuck into it. He's over the neck of this fellow here. Just he's a little bit inclined to run out, isn't he? This fellow here gets a little bit of a slap down the neck. Just a reminder what we've got to do. Keep his mind on the job, because he doesn't look the easiest horse to ride, Case.
No, he doesn't look the easiest horse to ride either, so doing a very good job there. Is Ron? Looks like 292 will be the next of our competitors, which will be Wendy Buller's nomination, Downton Abbey, ridden by Alexandra Ferguson from the Murray Valley Hunt Club.
And another of the Wendy Buller team. Wendy must have come down with a truckload for this competition. Ooh, have a look at him fly the first. Flew the second. Got a wing on every foot, this little fellow. And he looks like the type of horse to just go out there and throw caution to the wind. Gee, wouldn't it be an exciting horse to ride? Oh, she comes to that second one a bit quicker than a hunting pace, but gee, flew it well. I think everyone in the grandstand was on board there. He's a bold little horse, isn't he? Looks as if he wants to have his head. Well, a game round, if nothing else. Gee, that was a thrilling round. I think the crowd liked that as well, too. Charlie Morgan-Jones comes back again for another ride. Be interesting to see what our judges thought of that last round. We weren't going to muck around, were we? In fact, I've got a funny feeling there that Alexander was calling for a stirrup cup, or calling for something anyhow. So Charlie going along nicely here. This is a good pace. This is another one of the Kathleen Cust nominations here in Dalverton. So going along lovely at the moment. He's got every chance of maybe just a little close that time. And running out at the last fence, unfortunately. Gets a good pat from Charlie. Is it good enough to go back-to-back, though, as a rider in these 2 hunting events that we've seen so far? You make up your mind sitting in the grandstand. We'll make up ours up here, and then we'll be probably all put wrong by the judge. Abby Lee Ryan as aboard Just Name's Cadence. Abby's already had a look around at this particular course. And she goes out for the second time again. Good pace. Good pace and a good jump. Just a little sticky at the first. We can get a horse and rider to measure their fences neatly all the way through. And like our previous rider, or the rider prior, very bold type of horse who loves to attack his fences. And he's neat over them too. He's pretty neat over his fences, this little fellow. So Tagamol, as we said before, always come here with a good chance of winning or taking home a ribbon. So we're getting down towards the finish of it all, and there's the old champ key symbol again. Now, being a steeplechase, you'd think he'd probably have a lot of air between the top of the fence and the legs, wouldn't you?
Well, it was interesting watching him in his last round. There was one jump there that he almost got a little bit too close to, but he was so clever he got himself out of it with no worries at all. So remembering Jared Hurry riding around in his good friend and mate's Darren Green's helmet here in memoriam of him.
You can see Jared there when he came to that second fence. He sat down on the horse and tried to push the horse in, but he just got his stride wrong, got in a little bit closer than what I think Jared would like. That's a perfect takeoff for him. Stood back at that one. Lovely fence. Now let's see what Key Symbol can do through the centre here. Placed in our previous event. Neat enough.
Perfect.
Yes, neat enough. Those two through the centre, they were good. Well, Connor Dwyer, our next rider to go, aboard a horse called Ludlow. And this horse is owned by Connor from the Oaklands Hunt Club, and to be ridden by him. Number 333. Ludlow, Connor Dwyer the rider. The club is Oaklands Hunt Club. Owned by Connor as well too. A lot of our horses out here today have been ridden by riders who don't actually own the horses, but do ride them when it comes to going to the hunt. Just a little proppy at the first there, Charlie. Need to ride along a little bit. Now becoming very cautious, but safe. That's the main thing. Good round. Well, Stephen Valentine riding one of Peter Pale's horses here from the Oaklands Hunt Club. Northern Favours 2. And Casey's just picked up that Stephen is wearing a black armband. He's aboard another one of the Entires, another one of the stallions, that same as he rode earlier on. And that black armband, no doubt, would be in recognition of his friend in Darren Green. And safely through. Well, we haven't had too much go wrong today, Case. Everything's been, our horses have been well educated early in the season from our hunting perspective. Now again, this may be, I'll get you to put the binoculars on the number here, maybe 1772, Hayley Graham and Just Annabelle's Way. To be ridden by Hayley. Of course, Hayley had a ride a little bit earlier on Just Magical Dreams. So it is, number 1772, the rider, Hayley Graham, Hume Hunt Club. Well, as you can hear, the horse's hooves hitting those fences. They're pretty solid, as they would normally be out in the hunt. But it's just a little tap, that's all it was. And again, Charlie Morgan-Jones on another one of the Cuss teams. Kathleen Cust, Oaklands Hunt Club, number 501. I'd say Charlie has done plenty of hunting over in England before he's come out here to Australia. The foxes any different in England than they are here? Oh, what a big leap. Bold. Yes, I wouldn't say he's uniform, Casey. Not that I'll say uniformed. He stands back at some. He cat hops at another. We'll see the second fence there was better than the first, but he's a safe conveyance if nothing else. Gee, that was a big leap over there on the far side of the arena, wasn't it, over fence number 2?
Well, it certainly was, and it's probably the last of our riders for our Sid Greaves Memorial Hunters Plate. And very shortly we will tally up the points. For I think we're going to have a little bit of fun and excitement out here of a different kind of horsepower coming up after this.
Yes, we're back with hunting at 2:30, and then at 3 o'clock the Ulysses Award, which is another award which we'll be presenting. And then, of course, we've got the Darren Green Memorial Trophy for the combination of the most successful combination in the Noel Mason and the S.A. Greaves Hunters Plate, in honour of our good mate and friend Darren Gregory Green, who we lost back in July in a cottage fire on the property of the Cuss, just out here at Oaklands. And events that he would almost, you could say, dominate, Case, didn't he, for many, many years here at Royal Melbourne?
Well, he did actually. He was a very strong competitor out here and loved by many. And it was a very sad day when everyone found out the news that unfortunately he'd been killed in that house fire not too far away from the Oaklands Hunt Club. So it's very sad, and I'm sure just about every person down there is feeling the loss of him not being out there competing this year. And it's wonderful that his friends from the Oakland Hunt Club and, of course, all the other hunting teams out there are remembering him as the man that he was, as a fierce competitor, but then just a good all-round friend.
Did a lot for his pony club out there too, teaching all the youngsters, and was sadly missed by a lot of the young people out there as a tutor and a master of that pony club, of sharing his knowledge and his expertise with them. This is the S.A. Greaves Memorial Hunters Plate. Once again, the trophy remains the property of the Society And it's in the memory of Mr. Jeff Spencer, supported by Jeff Urey, presented by Mr. Jeff Urey and Mrs. Marcy Payne. I'm led to believe we'll be presenting this trophy. Once again, our top group are brought together. So who will be the winner of this particular class? Will it be Charlie? Will he go back to win the first and the second events that we've seen here today? Is it going to be someone else? Just give me his little horse a bit of a rattle around the ears with the whip, just giving him a nudge and a pat on the back. Now listen, share with me, because I'm sure the people down here would be quite interested to learn to know this. Well, I think we've got ribbons about to be placed. Here we go. We're in a bit of a hurry down there. This goes to number 1340, Medieval Magic, ridden by Ruby Marantelli from the Oaklands Hunt Club. Our second award goes to number 1009, Northern for Salt, ridden by Stephen Valentine from the Oaklands Hunt Club. And third goes to 272, another ribbon here for Key Symbol, ridden by Gerard Hurry from the Oaklands Hunt Club. So Oaklands have had a clean sweep right through. Number 4, or placing number 4, goes to Downton Abbey, ridden by Alexandra Ferguson from the Murray Valley Hunt. And our fifth going to Harbour, ridden by Charlie Morgan-Jones, Oaklands Hunt Club, number 501. And our final ribbon going to 1772, Just Annabelle's Way, ridden by Hayley Graham from the Hunt Club at Hume, number 1772. Our winner this time goes here to Ruby Marantelli from the Oaklands Hunt Club aboard Medieval Magic.
Well, didn't we say when Ruby did her round, it was a really, really lovely round to watch. So it doesn't surprise me at all that Ruby has taken home the blue ribbon here for our S.A. Greaves Memorial Hunters Plate. As you said, congratulations to our winners and place getters of this wonderful memorial trophy down here.
Well, you mentioned beforehand we're going to have horsepower of a different kind as we let our winners lead off in a little lap of honour here.
Well, why don't we, whilst you strike up our orchestra, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our hunt clubs out here. Our winner, Medieval Magic, and Ruby Marantelli from the Oaklands Hunt Club. Northern for Salt and Stephen Valentine again from Oaklands, as is Gerard Hurry and Key Symbol, taking out third place. Downton Abbey and Alexandra Ferguson runs fourth from the Murray Valley Hunt. Fifth place to Harbour and Charlie Morgan-Jones from the Oaklands Hunt Club, and our sixth place to Just Annabelle's Way and Hayley Graham from the Hume Hunt Club.
Well, you mentioned horsepower of a different kind. Very shortly, as soon as we have this arena cleared, sit and enjoy the sunshine, because we're going to go with the DMEX specials. We welcome them back here to the Royal Melbourne Show, the D-Max. And of course, the high-flying FMX boys. What a day they'll put on today. These conditions are absolutely ideal for them. They'll be flying higher than ever in this Royal Melbourne Show on this final day, looking for the big performance to culminate our last day of Royal Melbourne Show.